The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to another episode of the Icons of Real Estate podcast, where we highlight top professionals who are making waves in the industry. I'm your host, Karen Roberts, and today I'm thrilled to introduce Garrett and Chelsea Zimmerman from Team Zimmerman, right? And Red Deer. So with over 20 years of sales and marketing experience, they are leading Team Zimmerman. They deliver a fresh, stress-free real estate experience focusing on their clients' needs. So welcome to the show, you two.
Thanks for having us, Karen.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And so first of all, would you like to share your stories, really? First of all, Garrett, what inspired you to venture into the world of real estate?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I didn't land here because I really had kind of planned on it. I landed here out of a couple of things. One, Chelsea got her license about a year prior to me getting mine. So I was learning by osmosis and hearing and seeing what she was doing. And at the time, I was working in a corporate role. I had been with the same company for 14 years, and I was comfortable and things were good. Predictable income, benefits, all of the nice things, the Monday to Friday. But then the company restructured and I was not part of the future plan. So instantly I was out of work and looking for what the next chapter would look like in my life. And after taking, about 48 hours and licking my wounds and realizing that I needed to make a change and go a new direction, I got caught up in some conversations with other people locally. Of course, Chelsea was in my ear saying, this is the sign, this is what we needed to have happen for us to get into real estate together. And sure, I did. I got licensed, and 3 months later, I was a licensed agent and we were ready to go. So it was maybe a little unconventional, but I think that's the case with a lot of realtors, where you don't necessarily grow up saying, when I grow up, I want to be a real estate agent. But then circumstances, life happens, things take place, and here we are. And honestly, I wish I was laid off sooner. I wish that my company decided to put me into that position years ago, because I really felt like it's been my area of expertise, where I've been able to take, like you mentioned, the 2+ decades of sales and marketing experience and really apply it just in a different industry where people and helping families is the priority. And that's what we thrive on.
Transferable skills, right? So, but Chelsea, so what about you? So you did it first, but again, where did that inspiration come from? What was the real story behind you going into real estate?
Yeah, so I actually got licensed in 2021, and thankfully we had this time, I guess we could call it, where I had actually been let go from some of my positions because of the C word. And, there was just some restructuring going on there too, just couldn't keep staff. So I actually ended up, thankfully, getting EI. So I was able to take my license and be paid by our lovely Canadian government to do that. And it was awesome. Like, honestly, we had actually gone through the process of selling a house as well. So we downsized from our kind of big, beautiful dream home into this beautiful, affordable home. And we had a really good agent. And she kept telling me, Chelsea, one of these days you're going to do this. Like, one of these days you're going to be doing this. And I was like, I don't know. And so then I ended up getting my license, and it was kind of like a slow burn to start off with. But honestly, like, to your point, Karen, of what you just said with transferable skills, I felt like I had kind of gone through this wilderness season prior to getting my license, where every single thing that I went through taught me something that is now something that I use in this industry today. And it's a really big strength area for me. So yeah, I think, going through that process of buying and selling a house and, just loving the process and seeing kind of some of the gaps, to be honest. And then also just, because we had previously had an agent and that didn't work out. And so we saw like the good and the bad. And so for us, it was just like, for me, it was just a really easy yes at that point in my life.
Right. Fantastic. And well, sales and marketing, obviously that's going to help with that. So what do you think, how has that influenced your approach to real estate?
Yeah, so my background, like I mentioned, is sales and marketing and understanding the kind of the science behind marketing. I think a lot of people just think marketing is, a logo, some colors, the posters, the social media, but there's a strategy required to really develop a strategic plan in an industry that is, it's replicatable, right? There's a lot of agents out there. And how do you stand out and do something better, unique, and different than the next agent standing beside you? So from the beginning, that was basically ingrained in me in terms of we need a strong foundation, and it can't just be what is our colors, what is our logo. It has to be deeper than that. It has to be, who do we serve? Why do we serve them? What challenges do they face? What are the things that keep them up at night? How can we be different in a good way? And what can we do to provide solutions that really bring together dreams and goals and help create opportunities in their lives? So we don't think of ourselves as just realtors and agents. We think of ourselves as solution providers. We are really providing solutions for people based on their life stage and what they need. And when you start to think deeper in your business and with some strategy, it starts to take off. And we saw it happen. It snowballed. And that's been just the power of building a foundation.
So what do you think separates then you from the marketplace? What do you both see that you're doing different from the thousands of other realtors that are out there?
I think for us, it is our people first approach. Our slogan is people first, home second. And obviously in our background with relationship coaching, having a real history in that, but also just that we're relationship-based people. For us, it's always putting the relationship with our clients at the forefront. And, we say like, we're not just helping people move, like we are actually getting into people's lives. And, we're coming alongside people in some of the most exciting and some of the most devastating times in their lives. And so really taking that relationship personally and like making it like our personal mission to take some of that stress off of their plate during that process and just going above and beyond. That has been some feedback that we've had from a lot of our clients, is that like we just go above and beyond, the kind of norm. And it has actually been a really big area of success for us. And we love our people. That's, I think, what makes
well, and it's all about building relationships. I think so many, this is why we do what we do, right? Because having a podcast, being able to share your story, it humanizes realtors. Because would you agree that sometimes the perception of the public, they might have a slightly distorted view on realtors because they maybe are more known for being purely transactional. So what you've just said there about the importance of putting the client first, people first, because it is all about building relationships. And rather than that, it's not about that initial transaction, because it's then about the lifetime transactions. Like, how many times is somebody going to move? But you're thinking more long term, which is going to pay back dividends. Would you agree?
Exactly. Yeah. And I actually heard a stat one time that every one transaction can potentially turn into 10 in a lifetime. And so, we had a broker at one point in time that was his kind of philosophy. And I've never forgotten that. Because at the end of the day, you connect with somebody, let's say as first-time home buyers, and then eventually, they're stepping up, they might be having children, They might be going through a life change. Then, they're downsizing. Like there's just so many different, and it's not necessarily just from that one person, but that could turn into many referrals. And that's kind of how we've seen it too. It's just like word of mouth. I mean, we don't live in a very large city, but it's large enough. And I feel like a lot of our business has come just through word of mouth of clients that we've just really, impressed and made an impact on.
Yeah, and you're not going to get referrals unless you've done a good job. So
Right.
by showing up and serving first, then you get everything back. So Garrett, do you have any sort of unique challenges, would you say, that you faced with Red Deer, right? And how have you adapted and dealt with those struggles?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for us is probably similar to other markets where there just seems like there's an overabundance of realtors. And we've talked with other professionals in the industry, so inspectors, mortgage brokers, financial advisors, lawyers, and sometimes the conversation comes up where it's like, how do you compete in a pool where there's so many people doing the same thing you are? And so that's been a question that I've been pondering literally from the beginning months of when I became an agent as to how do we stand out? What do we do better, unique, and different? And those are questions we ask ourselves. What can we do differently? How can we be better? What can we do to provide a unique experience? And constantly going back to those questions to then determine what it is that we need to do to deliver on that. Because the reality is there's a lot of agents in a lot of markets all doing the same thing. So our biggest challenge has been, how do we stand out? And so we've been strategic in terms of, positioning of ad space, also our language, how we show up online in our social media platforms. But then more importantly, how are we showing up when we go into a room full of people? How are we showing up when we leave or host an open house? What are we doing when we're in public spaces? So that's really been a priority for us in terms of what we're doing.
Hold on. Don't worry. It can all be edited. It can all be edited.
My phone's off. I don't even know how it's working.
Not ideal, sorry.
Don't worry. The beauty of editing. Don't worry. Relax.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I don't even know how to turn it off. I'm just gonna see if I can.
Try your notification. Go to note settings and notifications, and do the do not disturb. Yeah, don't worry.
Oh,
this is why we don't do things live. It can be recorded. We can edit it. It's all good.
Okay. Well, it's still Okay. Notifications.
Yeah, we'll just turn it right off.
Oh my goodness.
That's okay. It's always the way, isn't it? There's just so many different things. You think you've got your phone off and then that's okay.
Yeah, what I was going to say, Karen, do you want me to just go back to the beginning of that question altogether?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, whatever you feel comfortable doing.
Okay. We're on do not disturb. Sorry.
Awesome. Don't worry. Don't worry. Start over.
So one of the biggest challenges that we've faced in our business is probably similar to a lot of other agents where your marketplace is just flooded with realtors all doing the same thing you're doing. So from the beginning of our business, we've sat and asked ourselves questions like, what can we do better? How can we be unique? How can we show up differently? And answering those questions across all platforms, not just in the social space, but also when we go to an event or when we go to a fundraiser or when we, are at the grocery store or when we're at the local community pool. Like when we're engaging with people, we're wanting to ensure that we show up genuine, authentic, and real. Because as you mentioned earlier, Karen, we're doing business with people.
Yeah.
And we want people to feel comfortable, and we want to feel comfortable because it's a journey. We've worked with clients for upwards of almost 2 years. We've also had clients that we've worked with for 2 weeks, but no matter the timeline, we need to make sure that what we're walking them through, like Chelsea mentioned, and coming alongside them is better, unique, and different in a good way. So that's been our greatest challenge and one that we've consistently stayed mindful of and kind of evolved and changed as we've needed to.
Great. And you're involved, you're quite involved in the community. Is that right? You volunteer and coach. And do you think by being so involved in the community, that's obviously having a massive impact as well?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, our community is everything. We have, we've got church groups, we've got, Garrett was involved a lot with like minor hockey, which is very good around like a really it's a big, a big space here in town. And then yeah, like we go to our local gyms and you just it made a huge difference in our business, and we like to give back as much of our time as we possibly can.
Fantastic. And so look, everybody I speak to, right, have all said last year was a little bit odd or weird, I think is my favorite word to describe last year. So how has it been for you? What part of Canada are you guys in?
We're in Alberta.
And how has it been? So what were your transactions like maybe 23 versus 2024?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, the sales activity in our market went down year over year, but our business actually grew by 52%, which was significant because we continued to stay true to our values. And we're blessed to live in Alberta. Alberta has been a very popular province for people to relocate to. So last year, BC and Ontario, they sent upwards of 65,000 people to Alberta to find places to live. So we had a lot of intermigration from other provinces, which we were able to capitalize on. But admittedly, yeah, our market did slow in terms of sales activity due to a lack of inventory. And we always say you can't sell what you don't have. But we were still able to go in and make inroads, create connections, and source clients to build our business year over year, despite a drop in the marketplace transactional activity. So we continue to just build and grow. And we always say we're as busy as we want to be. And we choose to be active, consistent, and show up despite what the market might be doing. And that's been really powerful for us.
Fantastic. And so what's next for you two? There you go. You've got double. Yeah, you've got the duo over there. So what are your goals now for 2025?
Yeah, I think a big part of our goals is obviously we would like to do a little bit more agent acquisition. Being with EXP, it allows us the opportunity to build our team and to grow. And, I think for myself, I mean, obviously being that we have seen the amount of success that we have, like we can mentor people, we can show them, kind of the ropes of what we've done and what's worked for us and help them find what works for them. And just really be like, an encouragement to them. So I think for us, we're going to focus on that. But then obviously, like we still have like our year has started off really strong. And so for us, I mean, we just got this beautiful new office space that we're now able to work out of with a collective of agents that are also with EXP. And so, for us, it's just continuing to grow and to flourish and to see the trend continue to climb in the right direction. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I think it's continuing to evolve our business as well, and knowing that we're in an ever evolving industry. When I started, admittedly, I didn't think that like the social media space and certain channels would be so important to just garnering visibility and building a following and an audience. So it's being mindful, staying on top of trends, and also just continuing to be true to who we are as a brand and what our values are. We have our brand pillars and we will not be changing them. We believe in consistency, repetition. Sometimes it might feel boring, but that's what makes inroads in the minds of the consumer. And there's a lot of people that struggle with chasing the next shiny ball. We don't chase balls. We lean into what we're good at, and we'll continue to do that. So it's just being true to who we are.
Fantastic. And so our last question is always the same, because here at Icons, we are the #1 real estate podcast network globally, and we're passionate about making podcasting accessible to anybody involved in the business of real estate. So you two, if you had your own podcast, what do you think you'd call it?
I think we'd have to call it the People First Podcast.
The People First Podcast. Perfect. Yep. Love that. And so for the listeners, if they want to get in touch, if they're looking to relocate into Alberta, so how do they find you? And if there's any agents out there that need help to grow their business because you are actively recruiting, how do they get in touch?
Absolutely. So we are on Facebook. Team Zimmerman Real Estate is our page. We're also on Instagram separately, sold by Chelsea Zimmerman, sold by Garrett Zimmerman. And then you can also find our Google page, which is full of reviews as well as some resources. And that's at Team Zimmerman Real Estate. So we are available, we're accessible, and we love working with people. So anyone and everyone who wants to get in touch, we're here for it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been lovely speaking to a team, both of you. And to the listeners, I'll be back next time with the Icons of Real Estate. Bye for now.